Hey YouTube, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. Today is November 1st and it's time to do November Currently Inked. So I rounded out October. I pretty much almost drained all the ink out of my Patrikios that I've had. Those are put away. Had really good writing experience with all of those. I replaced the nib out of the limited edition chocolate in a previous video. And so now I'm moving on to doing the November Currently Inked and not trying to get too far behind the 8-ball. Again, thank you for coming and stopping at my channel. If you're new here, I talk about things stationery related, fountain pens, and books. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. So let's get into it without further ado. So last month I did Patrikios, and this month I am going to do pens from Taiwan. And I have actually quite a few pens from Taiwan, but the main brand I think that everybody is familiar with is TWSBI. And I used to have many more TWSBIs than I have now, but whatever I have now, I'm going to ink up. I've got water here in an empty cup so I can flush pens, but these are the 7 TWSBI fountain pens that I own, that I haven't destashed. And so that's what we're going to use for this month. I have also talked about recently the Robert Oster Muddy Series inks. So I am going to be putting those inks into those pens. However, I have 8 inks from Robert Oster Muddy Series, and I don't have 8 TWSBIs. So one of the other Taiwanese pen companies is Opus 88, and so I'm going to stick it into my Bella. And this is in the red colorway from Opus 88, so I'll be utilizing this. It's very autumnal, which is why I picked it from some of the other ones. So without further ado, let's get into it. I will be using my little handy dandy binder that I picked up last year as an ink journal Bible for myself to kind of keep track. I have used different papers out of the series that I received it from, but today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use Iliofold paper just because I think it's stayed consistent without changes. And the other papers, I don't think I have any ability to get some of the other papers out of my sample pack. So I've been really reluctant on like rolling out or utilizing those papers. I will get to them eventually, but I've been a little bit reluctant because I'm afraid to find a paper that I love and I can't get my hands on it. But I shouldn't let that hold me back. Okay, so let's get into it. So I am going to go from right to left. This is my Precision TWSBI, and I will do the Opus 88 last. So this is a gunmetal color. Nothing's fancy about this. I've had this pen for a while. I did try to destash it, but nobody wanted to get it. And it's not a TWSBI that a lot of people see often. This is a piston filler cap, so I've got the cap down. I'm going to see if I can get this to draw some ink in it. So, and I can't use a syringe with this one. So the 8 colors of Robert Oster ink that I have once again Muddy Swamp, Muddy Bucket, Muddy Grass, which is kind of a greenish color as you would anticipate with it being grass. I have a Muddy Sand, which I absolutely think is gorgeous. And then the other 4 remaining inks I have are Muddy Water, Muddy Dragon, sorry about that, I'm knocking the camera, Muddy Crown, which is a purple, and lastly, a Muddy Wine. I don't really have a lot of colorway with some of these, but I will try to kind of match them to my pens, and I think for this one we'll just go ahead and use, it's kind of anticlimactic, I'm going to go ahead and use Muddy Bucket in the Precision. And what I'm going to do Let's grab my little holder here and see if I can suck up some ink. And I just remember, oh, there we go. That looks like that's working quite nicely. I'm not going to fill this up all the way with this many fountain pens, which I'm kind of not used to. Because I did a fraction of, I think I only had like 4 or 5, so I'm a little bit more not used to that. And I forgot to like grab, hold on just a second, I'm going to reach over and grab my paper towel just to make sure I don't have any excessive ink on the grip. And I've already stamped this out. This primes, and I'll zoom in. I think the last video I shot, I zoomed in a little bit too close, so hopefully this isn't too close for everybody. How's everybody doing? Here in the DMV, and that does not stand for the Department of Motor Vehicles, for everybody else, it's a nice, mild 72 degrees November 1st, which I'm kind of freaking out about with climate change, but there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, so Robert Oster, and this is Muddy Bucket. I don't know why I like this color, but I really do like this color. And I think, hold on just a second. Sorry about that. I had to get my magnifying glass because I'm having a hard time with the glare that I have in my apartment identifying the nib size. Old age. Don't say it. TWSBI. This is a TWSBI Precision. And this is an extra fine. Oh, I really do like this color. Okay, so there's Muddy Bucket by Robert Oster, and that is one pen inked. Put that to the side. Next up, in my series, I have my TWSBI Black. This is kind of like iconically classic TWSBI. This is a piston filler, and this one, my nib is a medium. Okay, none of these shade or sheen, so I don't have to worry about that. And it's a iconic one. So many decisions. I think I'm gonna just put Muddy Water into this pen. It's kind of classic. And again, I'm not, because TWSBI holds so much, I'm not trying to fill these up to the rim because it's going to take me forever to like get through it. So let me just put this in here like so. And fill this up. So in the States, Thanksgiving is coming up as well as Canada. So I hope people have wonderful holiday plans. Ensuing, I can't believe how fast this year is going. Because it is going fast. Just give myself a little bit more of a pull. And I apologize still for my mic. Every time I think it's going to arrive soon, I keep getting delays in the shipment information. So I don't know if they're having high demand for their product or what's going on, but I'm still waiting for that lavalier mic to come showing up. So let's go back into here. And my TWSBI does post, but I just don't need it to post. And now I'm going to put some of the remaining ink samples that I have. I'm definitely going to be team sample for a while. I just have way too much ink, and samples seem to be a little bit easier to go through. So this is Robert Oster. And that is, yeah, this is Muddy Water. It's kind of like your classic, let me get you in frame. It's kind of your classic blue with undertones of a little bit of gray, or yeah, gray ink and nib. So this is water. And this is the, oops, TWSBI demo in black. And this one has a medium nib. And this writes so smoothly. So one thing I will say is Illiofo paper has not let me down yet. But I wish they would bind it differently. I've got loose sheets, which is great for this binder, but I wish they had it in like a notebook. Robert Oster, like A5, A6. Muddy Water. And let's just see what, just make sure I'm in frame here. Seeming to want to scorch away from me. I will be talking about in an upcoming video books for November, my November TBR. I'm kind of pleasantly surprised, I should say, that I've gone through almost every book in my TBR jar except for series. Like I've got Sarah J. Maas as one of the writers that I want to read, but all of her books are doorstops, so I'm kind of waiting until potentially I get through the rest of the remainder ones and use the holiday season to like get through her thicker ones, because I want to read one after the other. But I have read some really good books. I have a couple of ones I would say that were just okay, but I've had a couple of them that have been really, really good. Okay, so next up I have my TWSBI Mini, and this is a vacuum fill pen. I love this pen. The only thing I would say about this pen that absolutely drives me bonkers is TWSBI cannot get the sealing cap not to get ink in it. It kind of drives me a little bonkers, but the writing experience is so good. I really do like it. And the cap posts like this at the end. So if you need a fuller size pen, you get it that way. But it's just a fantastic writer. I lost my first one in New Orleans. I was not happy about that, but nothing I can do. That's water under the bridge. So I ended up buying this replacement one, and then that one, the cap cracked, and I wrote TWSBI, which their customer service is really good, and they sent me another one. But that is kind of the problem sometimes with TWSBI. All right, so I've got Muddy Swamp, which is a more bluish gray ink. I've got Grass. I've got Muddy Sand, Dragon, and Crown. And I think for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use Muddy Swamp. So I'm using two blues. Actually, I think I don't want to use Muddy Swamp, because what I don't have, looking at my color palette, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use it, but I really want to use a different color, but I said I wanted to test these out this month, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to just stay true to what I said. Oh, this one's more like a Payne's gray, so that's fine. I love a good blue-gray color. So let me just go ahead and I'm going to lift this up, because the plunging action is going to require me to have some space. So I'm going to just put this in here like so. And sometimes you have to plunge more than once, which it looks like this is the case. Oops. This is not a very good plunging experience. Oops. Okay, then we have spillage. I don't mind spillage, but I don't want it to get on my new ink file holder. But it got everywhere, including my dining room table, which is a little bit of a bummer. So that's sometimes the problem that I have with that pen as well. And I'm going to take my vial, and I don't need to put a lot into this pen. I will fiddle with the plunging mechanism. It's not as smooth as, let's say, the Pilot Custom 823, but be that as it may. Getting them in this plastic bag sometimes. Just want to make sure I secure it to the side. Okay. So let's come back down. And I will go ahead and twist on the cap just so that that's secure. And the color is absolutely gorgeous, actually, though. Okay, so this is Robert Oster. And this is Muddy Swamp. Is this swamp? Yeah. Muddy Swamp. And this is my TWSBI Mini. And this is in a extra fine. This is going to be great for my smaller journals. And it just writes so well, though, for extra fine. Oh, I have not written with my TWSBIs in quite some time. All right, so there's that one. And let me just go ahead and seal down the end of the knob there on the back end on the plunger. Okay, so there's that one. And I'll just do a really quick recap. So there is Muddy Bucket. Then we have Muddy Water. And then we have, oops, Muddy Swamp. Sorry about that. I definitely have a fan in play because it is just that warm in my flat here. Okay, so turning over to the next back side of the page. And one of the things about Ilfold I really do like is it's not bleeding through except for where I have a little tiny bit under that Muddy Swamp just because I kind of pressed hard. Okay, so that's 3 of the 8 pens inked. Next up, I have my TWSBI Rose Gold fountain pen. I love this fountain pen. So this one, I think this is going to deserve Crown, Muddy Crown. This is a medium nib, and to really show off the properties, and I can post it, but it makes it kind of back end heavy, so I'll just leave it unposted. I've got grass, which I don't want to do. I have Muddy Sand, Dragon, and Crown. I am going to use, oh, and I've got wine. Now I can put wine in there. I'm going to use Crown for this one, which is the purplish color out of this. And let me just zoom out a little bit so that you can see this. And I think I'll do it this way. All right, this one is also a piston filler. So I'll just go ahead and lower down the piston. I have not written with some of these pens in quite some time. So it's kind of nice to revisit them once again. I think that's enough. Okay. Get that out of the way. Peppered Oyster. And this is Muddy Crown. And this is my Twisby Rose Gold. And I think it's called Black over Rose Gold. So I'll say black over here. And this is a medium. Great writing experience. All right, so that's what that looks like. I'm running out of space on my desk, so I'm gonna just put these back really quick. Next up. And so I have my white and rose gold from Twisby. Got a little bit of water still left in this, so let me just pull that out really quick. Should squeeze out. And this one. I'm just looking to see what nib size I have on this one. I think this one also is a medium, it's looking like. And again, I will not post, but next up for that one, I've got wine, I've got dragon, and I've got grass. So I'm gonna use grass for this one. Put this down. Okay, this might be a little bit not the right color for this one. I am going to use this on another one because I've got a little bit leftover red ink in here. I'm going to use dragon for this one just to be, at least the contamination won't be as as bad on that one. So let's just squeeze that down, get it in here. Start that. Come back up. Me like a good red ink. I am not afraid of red ink at all. And we'll get rid of that like so. Pull that down. Sorry about knocking the camera. It's very close to my hands and the area that I need to get into, so my apologies. All right. So this one, there we go. There's that one. This is writing like a extra fine versus a medium nib. Yeah, I'm thinking this is an extra fine. So we're gonna say that is what the case is. Oh yeah, Twisby, white, and rose gold. And this is an extra fine. I will say that I think Twisby makes some of the best extra fine nibs out of the box that don't usually need a lot of tuning and smoothing, or very little. So that's always a very pleasant surprise, and it just makes a really good writing experience. And I need to end on that. Sorry about that. Getting a little ahead of myself. I hope everybody's doing well. We're very close to having a very different change of command here in the States. I think a lot of people have anxiety about what's going to get ready to happen. Hopefully, well, hopefully it's for the best, regardless of the outcome. All right, so there you go. There's that one. That is TWSBI white and rose gold. And oh, I had it on my end cap. This is actually a fine nib. No, this next one is a fine nib. Sorry. I kind of put little stickers on the bottom of some of mine just to keep track of what the nib is if the nib gets buried too deep in the housing. So I have my black rose gold clear demo for this one, and this one is telling me it's a fine. And for this one, I will use muddy grass. That's what I'm going to use for that one. So let's move this like this. I'm going to move this down here like so, down to the last three. All right, I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't knock the camera this time. I do need to lower the piston down so we can suck up some ink. Ooh, I feel like I got an air bubble. Okay. And I'm just wiping the nib area off so I don't have excessive ink in a place where I might need to hold it. And putting the sample to the side with the cap on so I do not have any more issues. Okay, so here we are. Oh, the light is going so fast these days. Robert Oster. Aha, that's what I was afraid of. I knew I had a bubble in there. I was trying to get that out. Sorry about that. Oh, I hate when I get bubbles. Okay, let's try this again. One more time. Robert Oster. Oh yeah, this is definitely writing like a muddy. I have an air bubble in here. Grass. So that's gonna be fun to work out. And I'll go over here just to like get some of this ink out. Maybe that will help the air bubble issue. And this is truly a muddy color. Now this I can see because this is a fine nib and it's kind of coming out gushy. I can see this bleeding through. And the air bubble doesn't help, of course. So this is the TWSBI demo in rose gold. And this one is a fine nib and it's writing like it. Sans the air bubble, it's a beautiful writer. Oops, muddy grass. All right, so those are the writing samples for that particular page. Down to my final two, but let's review what I've done on this page so far. So I'm going to try to zoom out here. So the first up we have is the Muddy Crown in the TWSBI Black and Rose Gold, Black with Rose Gold. Then I have the Muddy Dragon. And lastly, I have the Muddy Grass. And for the last two fountain pens, and my last TWSBI, and I'm sorry about that. Of course somebody is. I hate those kind of cars. I digress. I've got two more inks. I've got wine, and I've got muddy wine, and I've got sand. I am going to put muddy wine and my favorite TWSBI Draco. They don't make this pin anymore. They've made it in purple now, I think, and I think they've done it in a blue, but this red one is by far my favorite one. And it's just a gorgeous writer. I'm so glad I was able to get my hands on it when it came out. I think I was in my crazy, I love everything TWSBI phase, and I was fairly new to fountain pens at the time. And one of the things I could afford were TWSBIs, if nothing else. And this one looks like it is, sorry, I've got a crack in my magnifying glass. And my nib is a little dirty. Hold on just a second. I'm just gonna scrub this really quick. Seeing just additional crud from previous cleanings. It's coming off, but I just need to, yeah, this is a fine as well. So let's get this one inked up. And let's make sure. I will say though, this pen is kind of hard to clean out. Not impossible, but a little difficult. So I might have to rock this back and forth a couple of times. It's been a long time since I've used this. I'm just looking to see ink come up into the nib unit, or if I'm gonna have to disassemble and ink jet it in. I mean, using a syringe. I think I might have to do that because I haven't written with this pen in a really long time. I think it was like last year that I used it. Oh, there we go. I see something coming in now. Okay. I said that, and then I don't really see it. It's all the way submerged into the cap, so hopefully I should see some ink in the window, and I'm not, so I'm kind of concerned. So what I'll do is I'll play with that afterwards, but let us go ahead and do the writing sample. And here we go. And let me just make sure I don't have anything on the grip. Okay. So this is Robert Oster. Muddy wine. And this is my TWSBI Draco. And this has a fine nib on it. I used to, and I think I got rid of it, I used to have a 1.1 stub, and I don't see it in my collection, so I may buy a new nib unit versus buying a new fountain pen. This is muddy wine. Okay, and let me steady the phone. Oh, this color is just gorgeous. But it's almost like a brownish red, so I can see why they called it muddy. It does have some brown undertones to it. There's that. All right, and last but not least, because I did not have enough TWSBIs. I've got my bulb filler kind of pen with the Opus 88. This is the Bella in red. And it's another Taiwanese pen. And this one is in a fine nib. And these pens, you take out the nib unit, if I remember correctly. That's how these work. And you fill it up this way. You just drop ink in. So the best way to drop ink into these is to unscrew the plunger. These are vacuum filled. And also these Opus 88s are great for travel. So you just empty that out, and I'm going to lift my camera up so that you can kind of see in here, which is going to be a little bit difficult. But the acrylic body, it will take all of this, and all of this can be filled with ink, which is a lot of ink. So once you do that, you are on the hook, or you have to dump early, but it's a lot of ink to stick into a pen. So what I normally do is just squirt a little bit in there, let it run dry, and see if I want to rewrite or continue to use it again. Last ink is going to be Muddy Sand. I'm going to use my ink syringe here. I talked about fountain pen maintenance in a previous video, or video coming up. I'm talking about fountain pen maintenance, and this is one of those tools that you can use to help maintain your fountain pens. Ink syringes are great when you're frustrated with trying to get ink in or out of your pens. And TWSBI has a tool as well. Let me just do this. This is a brand new syringe, so it's a little on the tight side. And I'm trying not to knock over my sample, but this syringe is really tight. Okay, so I'm going to suck up some of the ink in here. And then you hold it up to here. You should be able to fill around in the, hold on just a second, I got this a little bit too closed. You should be able to fill around the gasket, and what you want to do is be very careful that you'll fill the top or the closing valve for this plunger. But what you want to do is get it to the side, and then you want to plunge your ink in. And this is such a large capacity that I should be able to get everything in. And then you just take your nib unit and screw it down. So it doesn't really help prime your nib. I mean, I think you could probably do the plunge method, but it's a little bit of an exercise and frustration. So I'm just going to prime it this way by dipping it into the ink, making sure I don't have any excess onto the nib unit. I'm gonna close off my cap. And that is all the 8 inks of Robert Oster. Let me just do the last writing sample here. Zoom out a little bit. Oh, and you've got to be careful about squeezing this down. So it is a vacuum filler, so when you do close this, and I would urge you to close cautiously, you're going to want to get it so that the screw picks up, and when the screw is closed all the way, no ink gets through. So whatever you have in the reservoir here will actually let you write, but when you find that your pen is writing dry, you're going to want to open this up and pull it back just a tiny bit to let the ink flow through. All right, so this is going to be a dry writer initially, of course, my last one. This is Muddy Sand, so I'm going to re-dip my fountain pen just to kind of get it going, because it has not been utilized in quite some time. And this is more of a factor of me being rusty than it is the pen itself. But this is Robert Oster. And I'm seeing a drop that's going to want to fall onto my page that I don't want it to. Oster, and this is Muddy Sand. And let me zoom in some for you so that you can see that. And this, I'm so used to running TWSBI, I had to catch myself. This is the Opus 88 Bella in red. Oops. And I said this was, well, I think I said it was a medium nib or a fine nib. It's fine. Okay. And this is in a fine. These pens do write really, really well. And just nice and smooth. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And the ink itself, it's kind of a nice tan color, tannish brown. And I actually really do like this. And it really does remind me of the leaves changing colors as I look out a gorgeous view of fall happening outside my window. All right, so that is Muddy Sand. Just put this back, and I will review all the colors on this page, which we only have two. So we had Muddy, the Draco, the TWSBI Draco with Muddy Wine, and then the Muddy Sand by Robert Oster. And once again, these are the fountain pens that I have currently inked. Let me zoom back out so you can see it. Currently inked for the month of November. I'll be enjoying all of these, so I'll just leave this out on my desk so I can just kind of pick from them as I need to. I like the color palette. I just wish I had a burnt orangish color, so I may, in a future video, you might see Dominant Industries Earl T. Gray come out, or another kind of rustic orange color hit my my November ink. So this is the most that I've used in quite some time with 8 fountain pens. So here's the 3. Once again, we have Muddy Bucket, we have Muddy Water, we have Muddy Swamp, then there's Muddy Crown, Muddy Dragon, sorry, I've got the fan blowing, Muddy Grass, show that like that, Muddy Wine in the Draco, and the Opus 88 has the Muddy Sand. All right, that's all I have for today. Let me know what color was your favorite, which one did you like, what pen did you like, what combination did you like, what are you doing in the month of November. Thank you so much if you made it to the end, staying to the end, and hitting play when on the playlist of all the things that you could hit. Until next time, take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye.